I think Cam Ward needs to improve over these last 8 games of the season.
Take a lap, Tony Grossi. You're going crazy. That's your guy, TG. Cam Ward is continuing a very, very troubling rookie season. Now, rookie seasons don't completely define careers. People like Peyton Manning have actually one of the more historical, terrible rookie seasons. But the question I asked you after last week asking you if Cam Ward's a bust is Cam Ward being set up to fail? Is he given the resources needed to really succeed? Well, it seems like the people in the Titans media are tired of it, and they want something major to change. Let's hear it.
And so yesterday, a ball security drill with Cam Ward, which was blasted by the top quarterback coaches around the country as basically just wasted time on the practice field, is a bad sign when, again, I think Cam Ward needs to improve over these last 8 games of the season. These last 8 games of the season cannot just be completely worthless, and no matter what happens, we bury our heads in the sand and just assume Cam Ward's going to be better next year with a new coach.
Now, speaking of new coach, we are going to talk about that, right? Because, we're talking about a young rookie who's being being set up to try to fix some of the issues that the Titans organization created, probably by having lame duck coaches like Brian Callahan that you ultimately have to fire, while, Mike Vrabel's over there going crazy with the Patriots in his first year. But look, no way that you can really, spin it. This isn't a great showing for a rookie career in the first 9 starts. 57% completion percentage, 1760 pass yards, 5 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a 24.2 QBR. Now, we get up here and we make fun and we talk about how awful Dylan Gabriel is. Dylan Gabriel, I think he has like a 30-something QBR, which, not that more impressive. He's doing better than QBR. I think Tony Grossi is somewhere dancing and jumping up and down because his guy continues to, I think, outperform in certain aspects, right? But I got to be honest, as much as I'm a Cam Ward guy, when the stats are ugly, we have to talk about how ugly the stats are. So NFL sack leaders. Now, some people consider sacks to be a quarterback stat. You know what I'm saying? Some people think that, your pocket presence, the way that you handle the ball determines sacks. Some people say poor offensive line just get you sacked. But either way, leading sacks with 9 games played while the other 2 people under you have 10 games played respectively is not a great spot. So Tennessee, or rather Cam Ward, leads in all sacks right now through the 10 weeks. And then the other stat, the stats don't stop there, right? Because then we go to most accurate quarterbacks by catchable throw rate. Again, this isn't really about completion and non-completion. This is about how do you put the ball in great spots to make sure that your wide receivers can catch the ball and continue having great success with it. At the top, you have elite quarterbacks like Drake May, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff. I skipped over Ayahuasca Rogers because we're not sure if he's still elite. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, people who are considered elite level quarterbacks. And then down here at the bottom is Cam Ward. So not only could his accuracy be put into, possible question, but more, I think, damning is the fact that seemingly he can't create places and spaces and hit his guys in perfect places to make sure that they can do the most with the ball, right? That's 67.5 right at the bottom. Our guy Dylan Gabriel is at 27. Hey, Tony Grossi, take a lap, Tony Grossi. You're going crazy. That's your guy, TG. But then when you really look at the reality of it, you have some people like Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Caleb Williams. I would consider these quarterbacks as inconsistent, less than I would consider them as bad, right? And also something similar with at least Caleb Williams and Michael Penix. These are also quarterbacks that have been asked to, do a lot to make up for an offense that's been lacking in multiple different ways, right? So there's some nuance there, but at the same time, the stats don't become better at adding nuance. And I'm going to add some more nuances. Anybody remember Zach Wilson? Remember how he turned himself into a first-round pick for smashing MILFs and throwing that rolling left dot that he threw? Well, look at the stats compared to Zach Wilson. It's not that great. So Scott Connor initially says people hate that Cam Ward-Zach Wilson comparison and cite how awful the Titans' skill players are. Meanwhile, Zach Wilson's 2021 clam, Jamison Crowder, Braxton Berrios, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, Corey Davis. Hey, Corey Davis, Western Michigan. I don't know many of these people except Elijah Moore and Jamison Crowder, and I've never known them to be elite. So that's tough for old Zachy Wilson. But he says there's some good news, and that is that Cam Ward isn't the worst quarterback in the NFL. Apparently, Shuck and Gabriel are much worse. Hey, That's what the stats guys are saying, not me. The bad news, his rookie year is still historically very poor if the expectation is a second contract / market extension guy. And as you see here, just some comparisons. I believe this is EPA per play. But you got my man Cam Ward down here next to Zach Wilson in 2021. You got him with Cooper Rush, D Mills. Hey, and long neck Mills gets it done. But again, when your name's around someone like Drew Lock and Spencer Rattler, I don't think you're doing the greatest things in the world to continue, putting your team in the best place possible, right? He's ranked QB 31, right? We went through some of these stats. But all in all, it just hasn't been great. And I've been watching the games. Obviously, you see such great plays, right? There's so many great individual plays from Cam Ward, like big boy balls like that and different things like that. And also this throw, obviously against the Colts, he stands in the pocket while getting hammered. And look at the layering there, right? Look at what he's being dealt with. I mean, Lord have mercy. Like, why would you even throw that ball? Why would you? That's psychopath level throwing of the ball. So I'm gonna keep supporting Cam Ward. I'm gonna defend him. I'm gonna lift him up, right? Shout out Jameis Winston, but I got to for my man Cam Ward, especially because now there's been some controversy about some people believing or not believing certain people's sources, right? But I like to believe when people say stuff unless you're a proven liar. And right now, it seems that NFL players continuously give their respect to Cam Ward, right? You got Zaire Franklin, who's going to give almost like I don't know how many of y'all watch basketball, but the Paul George, Dame Lillard, that's a bad shot. I don't care. He's going to give that type of speech to Cam Ward. And if you're giving that type of speech, I think that's good. And then I think even more importantly, somebody who was in the building with him, right? This is DeMont Jones after he got traded to the Ravens recently. And he says, "Thank you, Titans family. I loved and appreciated my short time in Nashville too much. Cam is the truth too. Y'all give him time and he can be great." Now, what does Zaire Franklin, one of the top linebackers in the league right now on one of the better teams in the league, what does he have to feel about Cam Ward's recklessness but still making plays happen? Let's hear it.
I mean, I hope he throws that play again. Like, it wasn't a good throw. But, I mean, he's a talented player. So, like I said, he can make all those throws. His arm angle, obviously, is exceptional. He's got a zip in the ball. Like I said, he's a number 1 overall pick for a reason. I was a fan of him when he was in college. But, when you got a guy like that that's able to make plays, you just got to make sure you stay on your assignments. But hopefully he throws the ball again.
Hopefully he throws that ball again. Man, I tell you what, we can say whatever we want about Cam Ward. He's got some balls, boy. He's got some arm arrogance. He don't care what it is. And, Cam Ward is someone who's near and dear to my heart because I watched football last year. I watched Miami Cam Ward. I was late on Wazoo Cam Ward. I'll admit. But watching Miami Cam Ward, first off, every Cam Ward video I make, I tell y'all, leave this channel. If you've never seen go watch Miami Cal, go watch Miami Georgia Tech, go watch 2024 Miami. They're fully up on the ACC network. Some of the craziest games. You're going to see Cam Ward doing some of the craziest things with his arm. And I've said it, like, I think Cam Ward has the arm ability to make 95% of throws. But Cam Ward thinks he can make 99% of throws. And you're going to see that show up. And sometimes with some errant picks. Sometimes with plays that, like, who on earth is going to even attempt to think about that, right? But all in all, I think everyone can agree that some improvement is needed. So what we're going to do is listen to Cam Ward speak about not only self-scouting and doing some improvements, Calvin Ridley being back, as well as, the revolving team, door of teammates and what that's done for him as a young quarterback. And then we're going to get into some former Texas Longhorn glaze with Mr. Gunnar Hill. But let me shut up and let Cam speak.
For myself, I thought the biggest thing I could improve on was just not missing easy plays. Just being overly focused, even on the little things that I could cheat myself on. But then just as a whole, offensively, just doing the things that we're good at more throughout the game, more in practice, and then just lead to good offensive play. From a receiver standpoint, we get the best guy in our receiver room just with experience. And just the way he can, take a defense, just over the top and some that, we missed just in and out of weeks without Red. We do a lot of stuff game plan wise for Red. So it's good to have, one of our best receivers back and he ready to make some plays.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Last two, these are about teammates and then, well, leaving teammates. And then, of course, our guy, Gunnar Helm.
There's always high vibes. Every person that, we walk through that building, through the doors, they come with great energy. Everybody on the team goes up to them, introduces themselves. I think the best thing is that you get to just experience new people. You get to learn about new people, where they're from. Then you also count on that person to, help yourself, help them, and help the team win games. So it's going to be a fun journey, with those new guys, and I'm ready, to support them any way they need.
All right, Texas football glaze. Go, Cam Ward. I pressed the wrong button, Kronk. I pressed the wrong button again.
He's just reliable. I think he doesn't get enough credit for just how good of body language he shows to the quarterback, especially on option routes where he's going to say it, break in and break out. But then just the arm width he has, the expansion to go, and try deep balls, the over the shoulder. His range is, one of the best out there. And we just got to find ways to get him the ball, get him going. I got to continue to put the ball, his, perimeter. He gonna come down with it.
I agree, Cam. I think getting Gunnar Helm the ball more and more and more is always positive. Now, before we get into the whole situation, because I know the first video we watched, we heard that Tennessee Titans media member speak about, like, I guess he was upset because Cam Ward had these crazy drills, and we have one of the drills. I'm not sure if this is the drill that people are upset about. But we've been watching in the preseason Cam Ward do all types of drills. And this is what I will say. Look, I'm a guy. I don't know if you can tell. I've played so few years in the NFL. I know y'all might be surprised. Y'all might be like, "What, Tings? I thought you were a 5-year NFL vet." I know. I'm sorry. I had to tell y'all the brutal truth. I've played 0 NFL football. I know. I look don't I look like an NFL player? No, I'm joking with you. But in that regard, I like to stay in my lane when it comes to judging specifically the way people like do workouts, because I don't know if anybody remembers some dude named Dak Prescott, but he was in there and like, he was in that just hitting that muff. Just hips never lying. He was right here. Straight Shakira, right? Y'all remember Dak Prescott, right? Right here. Right here. Right there. Yeah, boy. Dang, my hips are already looser. Golly, Dak. That's what I'm talking about. And remember, at this point in time, Dak Prescott is considered to be an elite quarterback, right? We looked at the stats and how they ranked up. Dak Prescott's at the top. A lot of people consider Dak Prescott to be an elite quarterback. I say that to say, I am not of the mindset to try to judge those things because I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I am not a super athlete, so I can only imagine what type of things that they go through, that they try to do, they try to get legs up on. So let's hear what Tennessee Titans quarterback coach has to feel about apparently getting dragged about his silly drills. That's what people are saying.
So everything that I do, it's kind of the routine is, and kind of the structure is, start with ball security, most important, right? Something to where, we've had a couple pop out of our hands a little bit. So it's just stressing that point to start the day. Bones is with special teams of the team. They're doing some stuff. I'm doing some stuff with him and with those guys. And then more you move into more your foundation of your lower body, your pocket movement stuff, whether it's agiles. You kind of keep it fresh a little bit, change it up a little bit, give them some targets, but really focus on that because that's something when you start running team plays, until you go in and really talk about it, that's not something you want to just keep over and over. So you get it during individual, and we get the 15, 20 minutes right there. And then you work into target line finish. And that's where it's spot throws for them. And it's working on your footwork and your timing and your accuracy. And then by that time, we kind of move into ball tracks with running backs and then with the receivers. So that's kind of like the routine, the pattern that we do every day.
So, I mean, look, man, he sounds like a man with a plan. So y'all can judge him if y'all want to judge him. Does this sound like and I'm asking y'all, I'm gonna make my judgments at the end. But do you think Cam Ward is being set up for failure when his own quarterback coach is being made fun of for the drills that he's doing? And Brian Callahan was the last coach, and you had someone like Mike Vrabel who was in that locker room that probably could have provided a lot more for you. I don't know, man. But here is what Chink Okonkwo has to say about and he is a rookie who's been making big strides as well, and just making the connection better and better every day. You know, Alec Iomanner, learn how to say his name. He was supposed to be the guy, and that was one of my personal favorite wide receivers coming out of this draft class, right out of Stanford. Very physical guy, 6'1". Like, he's one of those dudes that is going to go climb a ladder and go get it. But the big plays have been coming from him, and this is a rookie out of Florida, I believe, or a young player out of Florida. And let's see what he has to say about the connection with Cam Ward.
Yeah, I mean, just taking the stuff that they give you. Like, a lot of times the defense, they just give you something. And a lot of times, like you said, it's us, the tight ends, like in the flat. And, just take the easy pass and let us go do the work. Like a 5-yard pass can turn into a 20-yard game. With the tight ends that we have on our team. The run after catch ability we have. So just try to stress to him is like, bro, don't always look for the big play. Like, we can make a big play from a small play. Just take care of the football, just read it out like how you know to read it out, and just let us make the plays for you.
What do you think it would take in order to make that happen a little bit more?
I think it starts with what I'm saying, like be good on first and second down so we have more plays in the game. I think that's our biggest issue this year is we just don't have that many plays. Like, going 3 and out, is like we can't really open up the entire playbook. So, we get frustrated. Like, man, I didn't get this ball this game. I didn't get these plays. But it's like when you go back and look at the game, it's like, man, we don't have enough plays for everybody to eat. So it's like just.
All right. And he said, sorry, it was getting wild in the background. It was going crazy. So 2 things. I do want to correct myself. I'm getting him confused with number 17. Because he also has he's the rookie out of Florida that was making the big play. 17. Don't want to mispronounce his name. This is Chig Okonkwo, who's actually out of Maryland, and it was drafted in 2022. So he's a tight end that's giving some value. So I think it's interesting. He kind of talked about Gunnar Helm, talked about him as well. Or now you have the tight end speaking about that connection and how he can kind of be there and doing the different things. So do want to correct myself there. I think I was thinking of a different player, but that player, that boy, nice. That boy, real nice. 17 goes crazy. Now, speaking of, is he set up for failure, right? You have someone in Mike Vrabel who's already, doing amazing things with the Patriots, making big strides with the Patriots. Well, obviously the Tennessee Titans have a vacant head coach spot, and of all people, Mr. Lane Kiffin name has popped up. Now, I want to say this because y'all know I'm a Lane Kiffin hater, and mostly because he is the most active Twitter user to ever be a college football coach. I got to be real with you, right? I don't know. He's 57 going on 17 when it comes to his Twitter fingers, okay? However, the offense will be good. I have to believe that the offense that Lane Kiffin will produce is going to be a high level. When I would probably rather see Lane Kiffin as an offensive coordinator than a head coach. I don't know what kind of culture he can build from an NFL standpoint, but my God, how do you go from having Mike Vrabel in the room, then Brian Callahan basically ruining the culture, and now you're going to hope that Lane Kiffin comes in here with a college culture and fixes it? Y'all let me know. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know. Is Cam Ward being set up for failure? I have to say yes. I think any first overall pick, like a true first, not like you trade up the first overall pick, you're gonna have some bad days. And I think that, like we see with Brian Daboll, some of these bad teams use talented players as scapegoats, not only just with their bad play, because Jackson Dart's balling, right? They might do it with their health, right? Or maybe taking too many hits, and not even from Jackson Dart with running too much. It might just be, hey, you not giving the right protection, a la Andrew Luck, right? So there's so many ways that teams can ruin these young players. Before we call Cam Ward a bust, let's think about the situation that's let's think about the fact that he has an interim head coach. Let's think about the fact that he had someone like Mike Vrabel in the room just a few years ago, and a few years can change a whole lot. But y'all let me know how y'all feel below about Cam Ward. Are you going about what the stats and facts say? Are you going about the vibes? Are you an analytics guy, or are you a that boy nice guy? It's very important. But you let me know down below. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't. Subscribe if you like football content of all shapes, sizes, form, fashions, and factors. Continue to be great. You have an amazing day. Peace.